Hey guys, welcome back. We got another great video for you guys. If y'all already don't know, it is Lib season. We are in, if you don't know what Lib is, I'm talking Love is Blind. We are in season 6?
Yeah.
Already. We're already 7 episodes in. Y'all, we're going to give you our opinion, our thoughts on the couples, if they're going to be getting married or someone's getting dumped, and we got a little bit of tea.
I just gotta say that if this is the first season that you're coming in to watch Love is Blind, do not do it. It will honestly make you hate the show. So, like, if you really... Because obviously it's a popular show. Netflix renews it, like, every 3 months. Do not start with this one. I was, like, looking at what people rated the best season. And people liked 1, and I believe 3.
To believe it or not, season 3 is actually my favorite.
Yeah, so go and try those ones first. Do not start with this one. You're not gonna understand why people like it so much.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're gonna jump right on into it today, and we're gonna start off with just this season's cast.
All right.
Real winners. Okay, so let's start with the girls.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so basically, the screen time belongs to Jessica, Chelsea, AD, Amy, and
Laura. You get a little bit of Laura's in there.
Laura, a little bit, and then you get a little bit of Sarah Ann.
Yeah, that seems like.
And Brittany is like one of our favorites.
Is actually our favorite. Actually, she's actually
so sad.
She's number 3 for me out of my favorite.
All-time favorites.
All-time favorites.
Wow.
Yeah, because like Zenob's my favorite, and I hate that Zenob gets such a bad cred, but she's my favorite.
Like, I know we're gonna get like probably so much hate because no one likes Zenob, but we love Zenob, so
yeah, keep the hate to yourself. My second favorite is definitely Mallory from season 2, and then we had Brittany. What's kind of like your Zenоб. There's no one else that's even coming close. Brittany coming. Close.
Here's the thing. Like, I love Brittany, but I like her more so as like a person than I do for being on the show. If that makes any sense. Like,
gotcha.
I don't
makes sense.
Like, yeah, we're gonna like drop some tea. So like, I'm sorry, this is kind of a spoiler if you haven't seen any of it, but because of what happens with Brittany, I am like, oh, you deserve so much better, you know? But at the same time, like, you don't know what happens.
Yeah,
and based on stuff I've seen, like, she kind of is actually more, like, mad at people that are, like, attacking the guy that she chose.
Yeah.
So, you know, clearly we don't know what happened, and I'm not going to discredit the guy just because of, you know, that situation happened for her. But I think she is, like, a good person, but also, too, like, maybe they just wanted her to be, like, the American sweetheart person, and that's how they edited the show. Like, you don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
But, yeah, so I do like Brittany, but I like Zenob like deeper.
It's like a whole.
It's like, yeah, I like Brittany superficially, but I like Zenob deeper.
Right.
So yeah, Zenob is my favorite. I don't really care for anybody else. Granted, I don't really remember other people either. So then we have Chelsea, who basically the Love is Blind producers loved, and she got the most screen time ever, and far. No one understood why, but she gets the most screen time, and it probably is because she compared herself to Megan Fox. Now, this is a very, very popular debate. This is probably one of the most talked about seasons, I will say, because of all the fuckery that happens in it.
And, like, the shenanigans that
there's,
happen with this.
There's so much to uncover that we're not going to be able to do on this video. But, yeah, there's a lot of that happens in this season and has aired throughout, like, the episodes coming at certain times. Yeah. But yeah, so Chelsea gets a lot of screen time. Chelsea has a lot of issues. Chelsea is crazy. So yeah. Then we have she's a character for sure.
She's actually one of my, believe it or not, she was actually, didn't I say that, Chelsea was actually my favorite until I saw Brittany, because
originally she loved her, and I was just like, no, hell no. I was like, as soon as I saw her, I was like, I'm annoyed, and then as things continued, I was like, I told you.
No, it's not.
I was like, I told you.
I feel like for this season, for some odd reason, like, she's totally correct. Like, in the very beginning, like the first like 3 episodes, Chelsea got the most screen time. Jessica got the most screen time there.
Yeah, Chelsea just got the most screen time.
You had a little bit of Amy in there. Obviously, it seemed like her relationship started off to be a lot faster than everybody else's.
I think Amy got screen time, but it was like the top was like it was Chelsea, Jessica, AD.
Yeah,
those are like the top. Like AD had a lot of screen time for a moment there, and then
they switched it,
and then
it became
and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
the way that they did the filming this year was also really strange because usually like you're kind of going through different couples and stuff like that and then the situations, but this time they were doing it based off of like, okay, everyone kind of gets their moment in an episode, so it was like, okay, let's go with the first people that are kind of gonna have their moments and their drama or whatever, and then okay, once that's a wash, whatever, let's go to the secondary people, and then they're gonna have their moment in an episode. So you saw bits and pieces of everybody in each episode, but it was really, really tiny before they figured out their drama, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So your favorite was Brittany. My favorite, nobody.
You didn't have anybody.
Yeah, I don't like anybody. So, let's move on to the guys now. So there was
so many J's.
Let's
just say that.
Jeramey, Jimmy, and Johnny.
Yep.
And then there was Trevor,
Clay,
and Clay,
Trevor,
and Matthew.
I
guess we could talk about Matthew because he did have a little bit of a moment there.
Yes. Ken, too.
Oh, right, and Kenneth.
Yeah.
See, this season also was like the hardest for me to grasp people's names. Because all these names are so, like, there's not a common face that happens with these names that comes, once you say this name, there's not a common face that happens. So, like, everybody's name to me was, like, interchangeable. Like, that person looked, like, Jimmy looked like he could have been a Johnny. Like, Johnny looked like he could have been not a Kenneth, but, like, Johnny looked like he could have been Clay. Like, it was really hard to grasp, like, these people's names and remember them. This season, like, I even think that other people were saying the same thing. Like, other people were like, wait, who was that again? Like, who's so-and-so? Like,
no, it's true.
Whereas before, like, I never had a problem keeping people's names straight, ever.
Yeah. And it could also just be, like, their personalities weren't, like...
Yeah,
there's no one that was really had, like, a really big personality that you're, like, remembering them. Like, they were all pretty, like... Not to be rude, but pretty mid. Like, mid
like, no one skyrocketed
Yeah,
at all,
I don't think there was any, like, crowd favorites in this season, like, at all.
I really don't think so.
There wasn't.
But
I mean, every season there usually is, like...
exactly.
Like, a crowd favorite.
And there's usually, like, a big drama where you're gonna remember, but like there was no big drama that happened we've seen yet or that happened on air.
Happened on air.
Because there's stuff that have aired out like lately, and you're like, but happened on air, like there wasn't much except for Chelsea. Like you're gonna remember Chelsea, but not for anything good. And Jessica, but again, like not really for anything good. So anyways, as we dive deeper, we kind of get into the couples. So there is Johnny and Amy, there is Brittany and Kenneth, there is Clay and AD, and Chelsea is choosing between Jimmy and Trevor, and Jimmy is choosing between Jessica and Chelsea. Me and Laura.
That's it.
And then Sarah Ann.
That's it. See?
But see, Jeramey was kind of in the secondary moment. That's why
we didn't really discuss it. Yeah. And again, I literally just forgot. I actually was trying to say Jeramey, but Jimmy came out of my out of my mouth, and I'm like, this is the J season. There's too many J's.
The funny thing is too is like when I saw remember when I said I'm like I see Jeramey and it's like, oh my god, like he seems like a good guy, and I looked at her and I was like, no, he's gonna do something. He's gonna. I'm like, I know you want to say I like him because I'm not gonna put that taint on him. I know he's gonna ruin it. He's gonna do something so shady that everyone's gonna hate him. Yeah. Lo and behold, it happens. And I was like, I don't know why I had that feeling when I looked at him. And I literally said this to her. I was like, no, he's gonna do something. He's gonna do something. Yeah. And then like nothing even happened in those episodes, and I was like, oh my god, it sucked. Like as I kept going on, I'm like, oh my god, this sucks. Like. I do think that I could like him, but like I know that something's gonna happen, so I'm not gonna say it. I wasn't gonna say it, and then and I was like, I told you. Yeah, she was like,
I was like, really? Like, oh, I was just so annoyed because, in all honesty, out of all the guys, he actually was my favorite guy. That was like on the show.
Yeah, I don't like any guy.
Like,
I'm lying. I like Johnny. But here's the thing, like the people that I think another thing too about this season is like people were either like TV people, which that you could like them because whatever the drama that surrounds them and stuff, but then there was also people that were just normal, which means that they don't make for good TV. And so I liked Johnny, but he didn't make for good TV because there was no drama there was nothing really shady going on. He chose one girl and was all about her from the beginning. Like he didn't have to flip-flop, like none of that stuff. So like he didn't make good TV, and so it's not really that memorable, his story, because it was just he stuck with one person.
Why don't we kind of get into like each person, talk about them as a couple, and kind of like start from there. So who would you like to start with first?
Okay, well, I don't think we should really... There's nothing... Okay, we'll just talk about the ones that don't really matter right now. So, before the honeymoon. So, basically, Brittany and Kenneth and Amy and Johnny.
Okay.
So, for both of these couples, it was pretty much like they narrowed it down. They were only going on dates with these people. Mm-hmm. Now, with Kenneth and Brittany, they connected over their faith a lot, and it seemed like they had like a really, really good thing going, and it seemed like, okay, like this was the stuff that they each had said that this is exactly what I came here for, and like down to like a T, like that was their person, like they had no doubts, and you could kind of see that play off on screen. I found like I was like, okay, like,
and
okay,
they had a lot of loss too, like they both suffered
and like the same loss, and then like whenever like their stories were super similar, and you're kind of just like, ooh, like it felt like one of those like Zach Bliss moments. Like it was like, okay, this was like written in the stars, 100%.
100%.
So that was Kenneth and Brittany, and then now we have Johnny and Amy, and I don't really care for Amy, so you should take this one.
Take this one. Okay, so like with Johnny and Amy, like as she said, like right off the bat they liked each other. They didn't really talk to anybody else. They had like a lot of quirkiness where like Johnny would do things like sing and like make little songs and stuff, and you're kind of watching it like, oh, it's cute, but then you're kind of watching it like, oh, this is
it's
so
cringe.
Like, it's kind of cringe. But like they seem to connect like really, really, really well. I mean, Amy's personality, it seems like she kind of wasn't really like everyone else kind of seemed like they were serial daters, and like they kind of came here to be like, oh my gosh, I've been going on all these apps, I can't find nobody, but I want to find someone. Amy just seems like to me like she was just like, she probably didn't really date that much, and then she kind of came because she's like, okay, I don't want to go that whole like serial dater scene, I just want to find my person type of thing, because it didn't seem like
I get what you mean, like,
yeah, like,
but she also like stated that she was like whatever, kind of like a loser. I don't mean to say that like in a funny way, I'm just saying it to talk quick, but like she was kind of like more of a loser. Like she had to have like her parents beg people to go to her birthday party. Yeah. So like she was not someone that was social at all. Yeah. And so she had a lot, I feel like, more awkwardness than you would expect her to have based off of like looks and stuff. And so Johnny really was someone that kind of made her comfortable, and so she was able to get really deep with him really quickly. And they kind of developed like a friendship. You kind of saw it play out. Like they developed like a friendship, and like you could kind of see the trust building, and then like, and I mean like the trust to fall for each other. Yeah. For just both of them, and then like they ended up like
together.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Me and you both did agree though that you could actually see them more as friends than as like actually being like.
Well, I mean, I'm
there's
not really
some friend vibes that I was getting more per se, but then again, sometimes your best friend can actually become.
Yeah, like I think if you're attracted to your best friend, then like that's like that's a good marriage. But I mean, I don't know. I don't. Anyways, so they were like, those are the couples that were like basically a wash, and you're like, okay, they know what they're doing. Now, the ones that were kind of struggling, which was Chelsea and Jimmy, and they're both dating each other as well as dating other people. Yeah. And they're both kind of toggling between the two people. And for Jimmy, he had Jessica, and Jessica was basically like the IG model starter kit. And she was set on Jimmy.
Oh my gosh.
She was set on Jimmy day one. And she did something that I really didn't like. And I actually kind of want to speak about it because, I don't know, I find it kind of manipulative. So I just want to know what your guys' thoughts are. She was talking to Jimmy, and I believe she had like 2 dates with him. Yeah. And then on the third date, she decided to tell him that she had a child. Yes. And you know, Jimmy reacts horribly. Terribly. Like, absolutely horribly. And in a sense, you can kind of understand, because he's kind of like, well, if somebody is so important to you, why wouldn't you mention it kind of right away? Yeah. And Jessica explains that, you know, she didn't want to talk about it right away because she wanted to make sure, I don't even know what her reasoning was. Yeah. Wasn't a good one, to be honest with you. And so she's like, I just wanted to wait to see. I mean, in my mind, I was thinking that she was like, I wanted to wait to see if he, like, if I was to catch feelings for him, and then I would tell him. And then tell him, yeah. Which is manipulative as hell. Like, and so Jimmy reacts terribly, and, you know, then they go on and kind of get over that hurdle, and he kind of starts talking to her about her child. And to me, it was like, basic, though. It was really like, I don't know. like, people on the internet are calling her a bad mother, and I just feel like I can't put a claim on if you're a bad mom or not. I have never seen her with a child. But I understand where they're coming from in the aspect of, if someone reacts like that about your child and isn't excited or anything like that,
you should have stopped talking to them.
It's done. Like, your child is your world that you're saying, and your best friend, whatever. And this man is barely putting in any effort, like, barely asking any questions. Once you start talking about your child and go on, like, a rant about her because she's just so amazing, and he's just like
oh,
it's just
okay.
quiet. Yeah. Like, that is not the one you want to be your her stepdad. Like, so to me, like, that is just bad. I get what people are saying. It's bad parenting in that aspect, because why are you accepting that?
No,
that's like half-assed. Like, and he's showing it to you from the get-go. Yeah. And she was still like, nope, that's my man, and she like clung to him. And if anything, she was doing that thing where someone is basically dissipating and you just grab on tighter.
Yeah.
And it scares them, and then they kind of go away faster. Yeah. And she was kind of doing that thing. She gave him a letter explaining that she was going to give this to her future husband, and she's like, you can date whoever you want to, but if you come back to me, whatever, at least I know, like, you had your fun dating. And obviously she didn't want him to date anybody else, but like, she had no choice.
She should never have given him that
and
letter.
She should have never given him the letter because of how he reacted to her daughter.
No,
and
exactly.
Like, even after that, like, every time we brought her up, like, he did not engage. He did not engage at all.
Yeah,
it's just
so
really
frustrating,
ridiculous.
And I'm just like, how did she not see it? She was just blinded, and I guess because she came into it because she's trying to find someone again, stepdad, like have a family.
But
so
here's the thing that I didn't understand about Jessica was like, she was like, oh, I want to find a stepdad for my daughter and Autumn, I think is her name.
Yeah, Autumn.
I want to find a stepdad for Autumn and blah blah blah. But then she's like, oh, Autumn's father is really involved, and like he's a good father, blah blah. We co-parent really well. So I'm like, why are you focusing on saying I want to find a stepdad if her dad's in the picture?
Good. Yeah.
That's what I didn't understand.
Yeah,
like, if he's a good father, then she doesn't need a stepdad. So yes, the person you meet has to be a good stepdad. But why are you saying, oh, I really want to find her stepdad? Like, that's weird to me. Like,
yeah, no.
So which one is it? Which one is it? Is he in the picture or is he not?
Yeah,
like, is he a good father or is he not?
Yeah.
And you're doing a bad job because this person has shown you like he doesn't
even care,
doesn't want that.
And like, my only thing about Jimmy too is like, he responded poorly in this situation. We're gonna talk about another one. He responded poorly again. So it just seems like he's a person that just doesn't know how to respond to certain things from the
He's a child. Like, he's 27 and he I don't know, because males kind of mature later, I guess to me he's acting like a 27-year-old. Like, him not being able to express his emotions and say it right away, and he has to take a day or whatever that crap he has to do. It explains it all, and it's like, again, if you have a child, I have a child that is her son, and like, if I'm dating guys and I talk about him and they don't seem excited, or they're not like, oh, like, into it because he is my world, that's all I talk about, then I'm the one, I'm like, okay, no, like, I can't talk to you. And he's not even from my uterus. So I don't understand someone that actually had the whole experience of having a kid will even accept the little that Jimmy was giving. Like, that's crazy to me.
She's an amazing auntie. Like, honestly, like, yeah. Just to say that, just to put that out there. So, like, it's funny because trying to bring this into it is because it's like, even though, like, it's her nephew, like, she's not gonna go date someone that doesn't have any excitement for one of the most important things that's invaluable to her life and stuff like that, right? So
yeah.
It's crazy that she's watching Jessica now on screen and she can't, like,
I can't fathom.
I can't figure that out.
I can't fathom how you're gonna accept that little excitement, because I just stopped talking to people because they give me like little excitement, or like they don't try and carry on the conversation. They don't try and carry on the conversation of like my baby. So I don't even continue the conversation there.
No, it's fun. It's actually great though. But you're an amazing auntie. Amazing auntie, best sister, best of everything. But to get back into the video, but no, like, I just think that, again, I'm gonna be honest. I did not like Jimmy. I was like hoping that no one was going to pick him and the girls were not going to like him and he didn't have to get any more screen time, because I was just sick of him. Again, it's one of those things, again, just like season 4, to me, how Micah was getting all these guys that, like, I didn't see it. Oh, I didn't get why Jimmy had these two girls, like, fighting. I just didn't get it. I didn't think, like, his laugh, no. I'm
going to move into his other choice, which was Chelsea, and their connection seemed, the thing is though, is like, to me, Jessica was his number one. Then she told him about the child, and manipulated him in a way for me. I think she manipulated him because I think you need to talk about your kid right away, because some people don't want to have a kid, like want their own kid or don't want to be a step parent or whatever. So that is how you weed people out. Like, you have a good thing to weed people out. Use it, you know? So the fact that she wanted to keep it hidden and make sure he fell for her in a way before she let it out is stupid to me, because if that's someone's, like, non-negotiable, it's their non-negotiable, whether they have feelings for you or not. So why would you try to manipulate them to liking you in order to get what you want, but not thinking about what they want, but you say that you fell for them? I just think it's very manipulative. So anyways, so basically Jessica was his number one. Then that happened, and I think everybody in, I'm saying America like we're Americans, but like everybody was kind of like saw the drawback immediately and was like, okay. Then he kind of started paying more attention to Chelsea, and Chelsea's one drawback or whatever was the fact that she was married. Who cares? It happened when she was 18, high school sweetheart. Doesn't matter, but I guess some people care about that. It's stupid. And he was like, okay, well, I got bigger news than that. That's fine. I can deal with that more so than dealing with the kid. And so he kind of went and zeroed in on Chelsea a little bit more after that whole fact. And to me, I didn't like Jimmy because of how he handled the whole thing with Jessica, but looking at it in retrospect, I'm kind of like, okay, I get it, but you need to be a grown man. And talk about it and be like, and he should have cut it off from then and there once he realized, I don't want to be a step parent. That's it. But like, don't keep talking to her. Like, it should have been done from then, because you can't get over that.
No, you can't. And I think actually after she had told him that, they actually still had, like, Jessica actually opened up to him about her past.
No, they had after that whole thing, they had a lot of dates. Like after that, like they had a lot. He didn't ever like cut it off. Like they had so many dates. So like that's the thing. Like I was like, you need to be like a grown adult and like talk. If you guys want laughs, honestly, get Reddit and join the lib community. It's hilarious. But anywho, everybody could see the drawback of like, okay, no. And everyone knew, like, okay, honey, you don't want to have a step-kid. That is fine, but it's not fine to basically play somebody and not express your feelings to them.
And have said it from
and again, it's a wall. So you're saying this stuff to her, but if she was able to see his facial expressions, I think she would have known, and then she would have stopped. But like, he's not telling her anything, so she can't go off of body language or anything like that. So it's not really her fault.
Which is what annoyed us as viewers, because we're like, hey, like not poor girl. Well, actually, not poor Jessica, pouring out her heart to this man, about to give this man a damn letter. And he's like, all giving.
It was like, super sad.
It was sad to see.
So I kind of feel for her in that aspect.
Like that's why it made me not like Jimmy. But like, let us not rant on him anymore. Please.
So then we go into Chelsea. Now Chelsea is deciding between Trevor and Jimmy. And to me, it seemed like she basically liked Trevor more. And she bonded with Trevor more. They had a lot in common. And again, it was one of those moments where it was like a Zach and Bliss situation where it was like written in the stars, because she's like, I really like guys with mullets. Who the hell has a mullet nowadays? He had a mullet. It was like, okay, obviously that's your guy. And then I think because she was able, I mean, this is what people have proclaimed, because she was able to kind of get a guy over the hottest girl in the room, which was Jessica, and she was able to win him over. That was kind of like the triumph that she's always wanted. And so she went with Jimmy, because no one could understand, like, their connection that we saw on screen did not look like anything that was better than her and Trevor's. So she ended up choosing Jimmy. And
even though Trevor told her first that he loved her first. And I was like, I said to Trez, I'm like, if she picks Jimmy, I know she's going to. Just because it was a fight. You know, like, that's, like, seems like what it was to me. That's, to me, honestly, I think that's the only reason why Chelsea actually picked Jimmy, when she knew Trevor would be better for him. Because she liked the idea of being able to trump over someone else and get a guy over someone else. That's literally what it was for me. And I'm like, piss off.
I know.
So there was very debatable thing where she told Jimmy about the whole thing of, because she's a flight attendant, about how she always gets compared to some famous girl, like hot famous girl.
We're gonna talk about
act like she doesn't know who she was to him, and it's like,
so
it was bad.
Here's the thing.
Like, what?
It has been said that people can see how she looks like Megan Fox. People have said that. I have seen angles of her, and like this is cut off, and then you're only seeing there, where it kind of looks like the old Megan Fox, like in the Jennifer's Body. Not now, Jennifer's Body, Megan Fox. But where I'm from is like the standpoint of okay, you were doing that to be manipulative, because why are you telling somebody, even if she put all of, like, I don't agree with that, but this is what I get on the plane, but it's only because of this and that. You are setting somebody up because they don't know what you look like. So once he met you, you could have been like, oh, I look like Megan Fox. But because now he had this vision in his head, I feel like you kind of set yourself up, and for you to be like later on, oh, I feel like he's not attracted to me. It's like, well, yeah, you told him he looked like Megan Fox.
Yeah.
And like he's also doesn't know what your body looks like. So he's also thinking you're talking about Megan Fox's body as well. Had she been skinnier like Megan Fox, and she has a dark hair, blue eyes, whatever, even if she didn't look like her facial, if her body was like her, then you would see it more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So because she was far off even from that, and the chin down, it was like, okay, what the hell? You kind of, know.
And I think
she did it purposely as like a ploy to act like, oh, MGK's fiance, like whatever. Okay,
you knew it was Megan.
People know Megan Fox over MGK. Like, there's no way you're saying like MGK's. I think it's okay. Stop. Just okay. So basically, what happens is when Jimmy meets her friends, she's like, guys, like, what do I always get that I look like on the plane? And they're like, what do they say? Adele or something?
Adele, yeah, Adele.
What did they say?
They said something.
They said like Ellie Goulding or
like something out there.
They said somebody else, not Megan Fox.
You know what's so funny? Didn't I say she gives me Adele vibes?
Yeah.
I said that from the beginning.
I don't know what her friends said. What did her friends say?
It was completely off of Megan Fox.
Yeah, it was not Megan Fox. And then they're like, oh yeah, you look like da-da-da. And then she's like, no, but like, what else do I get? Like, remember, because of my eyes? And she's trying to prompt them to say that. And then they're all just like, and then one friend's like, oh, Megan Fox? And then she's like, yeah, see, there it is. But it's like, that wasn't even the first thing that came to their mind. So it was like, maybe one or two people said it.
Yeah.
Or like said it, and then you tried to make it a thing, whatever. But it was like really strange to me that her friends didn't say both. They could have said, oh, who do I look like? And they could have been like, oh, you look so-and-so and Megan Fox. But they didn't say that. You had to prompt them. So I was like, okay, how often do you really get it?
And Jimmy,
and why didn't you say the one that...
Yeah.
Clearly you get that one more because your friends came up with that immediately.
Yeah.
So why didn't you say, people say I look like Megan Fox and so-and-so.
Yes.
You said Megan Fox because she's the hotter one.
Yes, that's why. And then even Jimmy said, we need to clarify something here about the comment that you said about you look like Megan Fox. Because he was like, because again, like when you see it they're in the pods, as soon as she mentioned she looks like him, he's like, wait, what? You look like who? And he got like all excited and all giddy and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she really honestly only threw that out there is because she knew that Jessica was talking to him, and she's like, okay, Jessica's a bombshell. I need to kind of...
Yeah, Jimmy and Chelsea. So now let's go into AD.
Okay, AD all day.
Okay. Leslie has her two choices and in the beginning, and it is between Matthew, who I think gave me serial killer vibes, I'm so sorry, and Clay. And to me, you kind of see her bonding with Clay, and you're like, oh, okay, I can see them, whatever. Then you're like, no, because he's just like, if you do not have the body that I want in a woman, then I'll cut this whole thing. And she's like, so give me a sec. You're on an experiment to find out if love is blind, and you're not able to see me, and you want me to tell you what I look like? No, I'm not playing that game. Yeah. And that gave Matthew the perfect opportunity to kind of like swoop in and just be like, I don't care what you look like, I will fall in love with anything. Like, I'm starting to love you already, blah, 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 and kind of use that whole thing. Yeah. And then Clay acted immaturely once he found out that she was kind of toggling between the two of them. And rightfully so, because, again, serial killer vibes. And so then he kind of like did like more insight on himself and became more vulnerable in a way. Mm-hmm. Do I believe it? Meh. And then Matthew ended up saying that he is not going to propose to anybody on this experiment because he believes that he should go to the person's father and ask for their hand in marriage and exactly be traditional. And AD's like, okay, well, my father's dead. And wait, is he dead?
I think
he's out of the picture.
Yeah, something. I think.
Well, I think he did pass, and he was out of the picture.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, well, my father is not here, so that's not ever gonna happen. And she's like, you're on an experiment, knowing what the steps are. Like, you know, you have to propose to somebody. Yeah. And he's just like, I'm not gonna do it. And she was like,
Why did you come here, and why did I talk and open up to you?
What the hell? Why are you wasting my time?
No, for real.
And so then he ends up leaving to go after somebody else. And basically, she also caught him in a lie because he was talking to the two girl. He was talking to another girl and AD, and saying the same stuff. And the girl
wasn't her name Amber too?
Yes.
Yes.
And saying the same thing verbatim, basically. And he really didn't have a way of getting out of it. It was just like, okay, well, whatever. And then he's like, I'm gonna go after Amber, and so he ends up leaving the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes and talks to Clay, and Clay is kind of like, I'm sorry for saying that. But, like, here's the thing. He never said, I'm sorry for saying that. That's immature. You're right. I'm on this experiment for this and this. He was just like, I'm sorry I said that. And it basically made you feel ick towards me. But he's not sorry because that's how he feels.
Yeah, no.
That's the thing. Like, to me, I'm like, that's how you felt. So, yeah. I don't know. I think she just really wanted to get married and whatever.
I think so, too.
So, she just came with it. But she also said in the beginning, she's like, if I see red flags, whatever, I'm gonna paint my nails red to match.
Yeah.
So I think that's another thing too, is like, if you are in that pattern, how are you gonna break away from it? You're not. How are you gonna get what you want if again, you're like, the red flags, and he is a clear red flag, he's a child, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna like go there. Yeah. But then whatever.
And always constantly doubting himself too.
Apparently
like,
she feels safe so safe with him, more safe than anybody else. So she ended up choosing him. Okay.
No, I think she was just like, in this experiment, she like, there's people out here that come into the show and want to be like, okay, I'm gonna find my person. Even if I know there's red flags, I'm gonna find my person here and be determined for XYZ. This is exactly what AD is. She came in here and she's like, I'm finding someone. I'm not leaving here without someone. That's how it honestly felt to me. Because in all honesty, Clay saying the comments that he said, she should have known it's a red flag. He's not even here for the right reason. And that, again, this is the problem with these seasons coming on, that people are just coming for literally clout.
Yeah, that's the problem now after everything and seeing how the first like 2 couples were just turned into like IG people or influencers, that now, especially now, like having kids on it, like younger people too, because now I think people are getting younger. Yeah. It's like, okay, no. And it's turning into that. Like a lot of people are saying that, okay, it seems like all these people are just here for clout. Like it doesn't seem like they're genuinely here to like find love, because again, like with Clay saying, oh, like if she doesn't have like a tight body or blah, 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 like I'm not about it. It's like, why are you on this experiment then? Why are you on this experiment? Go on Bachelors in Paradise. Go on like it's Love Island.
Too hot to handle if you really want to.
Exactly. Like what the F are you here for?
Yeah,
so yeah. And then even like the guys, like Jimmy is young too. Jimmy's 27. Clay I think is around the same age. Kenneth again is around the same age. Like he's 25.
He's like 25.
Yeah, he's 25. Like all of these are children. Yeah. And like I mean, a girl at 25 can get married. Yeah. And, like, it can be fine. A guy at 25, like, he's still so young that unless he's, like, mature, I don't know. I think every way, basically to me, every way that how these guys are acting is exactly what I expect from their age.
Yeah, no, it's true.
It's not a surprise.
And now that I'm thinking about it, out of all the seasons when the guys are getting married on the show, most of the guys are actually older from what I'm thinking. Except for the only one for me that I'm kind of getting, like, I think he's young and around their age, I think is Matt with Colleen. I think he's, like, around like the 20.
I think he's like 28.
28-ish around there. Yeah. But every other guy that got married from this show was already in like their 30s or like 29.
No, yeah, 30, right? 100%. So
yeah, so it's kind of like, I'm not understanding. But again, from what I see, like in America, people get married at 25, like guys and girls, right? Apparently it's a thing, right? So but yeah, with them too, I'm worried for that because I'm like, and he always constantly had this thing where he doesn't think he's good enough. He's going to make a mistake. He's going to cheat because of obviously he talks about his past with his father and all that stuff. He doesn't think he's good enough. He thinks he's going to fail. That's already a recipe for disaster.
But he also doesn't know, like one of the things too is that he doesn't know if he
is even ready.
Like no, like yes, like... but like he doesn't know if he thinks that he can stay faithful to one person. Like he's never seen it happen or whatever. He doesn't even know. Maybe like his sexual appetite is huge. Like who knows? He doesn't go into too much depth. He just says partly because of what he's seen in his life. Like any male that's been in his life, he's never seen them stay faithful. So he kind of just thinks like, is it in male coding to stick with one woman? And he has no idea.
Moments there that, like, for example, like, sorry to go back to Kenneth and Brittany, even on the honeymoon, Kenneth and Brittany, there's parts where they're not even talking to each other. And it's, like, very awkward. And then him and AD have that really awkward moment when they're, like, looking out at the where they're sitting eating and he's looking out at those.
Well, yeah.
And they're not talking.
Well, he's
so I'm like, it's awkward.
Okay, well, it's different. With him and AD on the vacation and they're eating, and then he starts going, he's just going internal, and she's like, whoa, what was that shift there? And then they talk about it. Kenneth was just weird. Like, I don't know if they showed it purposely to kind of give us a hint for what's to come.
Yeah.
Or what, but as soon as, like, it was super strange. And basically, yeah, once they get back into, like, real life and they're kind of moving in together, Kenneth just goes downhill. Because he was, like, up here and everyone was like, ooh, okay, yes. Yeah. Then, like, it was, like, the biggest fall I've ever seen. It was, like, a fall to hell. Like, I've never, ever seen someone on TV, like, just go from, like, being the top to, like...
Oh, JP Taylor last season. JP was, like...
I didn't like him, though.
And he just went downhill.
Yeah, but I didn't think that he was...
Oh, you didn't really like him.
No.
But that was, like, off a cliff, though. Like, that was, like...
No, I mean, with him, he was already awkward, so I didn't really think that. But, like, with Kenneth, like, he didn't ever seem awkward in the pause. They were talking constantly.
Yeah.
Even whenever they're in the room, like, they had a good thing when they were flowing and stuff like that, and, like, she's no make one, like, and then, like, he's like, oh, let me give you a chair or whatever, and then she's like, there was no awkwardness, and then all of a sudden it's awkwardness, and then it's, like, just to hell. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But yeah, anyways, so moving on. Clarity. Jimmy. I mean, sorry. Oh my gosh, not Jimmy.
Jeramey and Laura.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jeramey is basically toggling between Laura and Sarah Ann, and I was like, listen, nobody is choosing right. If Jeramey doesn't choose right, I'm done watching the show. He chooses right, and he goes with Laura. Or he chooses what I thought at the time was right. Yeah. He chooses Laura. What he should have chosen was...
Taking the door and got out.
Literally. Like a plane ticket to get the hell out of there because you need to self-reflect. Yeah. But he ends up choosing Laura, and, they're on the honeymoon. And Laura does not seem that into him. Like, it's so weird. Like, she basically... just is, like, throwing, like, spitfires, and yes, like, it's like she's joking, but, like, to me, like, there's always truth in a joke, and she would just nonstop just be like, no, you're not doing that, or be like, oh, like, you're so annoying, and, like,
that's true.
I get, like, if your partner is purposely trying to annoy you, like, if I'm just, like,
poke it, yeah.
Yes, you can be like, yeah, you're annoying, but, like, he's being himself legit, and she's like, oh, you're so annoying, and I'm like, ooh, like, if you're feeling that already, like, girl, like, this is not for you, you know what I mean, like, you're not supposed to be annoyed by their personality.
No.
And he's not doing anything to you.
He's actually not doing anything.
He's not doing anything to you, so you didn't like him, I feel like.
I loved their banter. Their banter, though, seemed, like, really good, which is what they had, but with Sarah Ann and him, it wasn't really
At some points, their banter was good, and especially in the pods, their banter was good, but then it was, like, maybe it was, like, she was shielding herself, because as soon as she got out of the pods, and then they were on together, it was, like, she was, like, and then she was, like, no.
Yeah.
Or, like, she was super serious, and, like, she wasn't the same person to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So then as time goes on, let's just get down to the last episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last episode. Chelsea and Jamie get into a fight because Chelsea is crazy clingy, and she gets upset that Jimmy hasn't kissed her all day, even though he was at work.
Hasn't told him that
he loved her
like,
in like 8 hours. He hasn't told her he loved her. Then we have Kenneth and Brittany breaking up because basically Brittany expresses to him that she doesn't feel like a craving for him, and she thought that she would, and she doesn't, and I assume it's because he's constantly on his phone. I don't know if it's because the producers just want it to be kind of like something that people could talk about, but she'll be talking, and even when she was talking and expressing herself and crying, he's on his phone, checking his phone, just on his phone. It's just crazy. Like yes, because producers are editing it in a way to make us think these ways of certain people, but the fact that was something that they could do meant that you're in the wrong to me, because how is homegirl crying and you're on your damn phone? Yeah, you're like, every time, and they show like a wide shot, so it wasn't even like they kind of like could have placed it. He was in a different, like it was a wide shot that this was exactly like how as it happened, and it was just wild. And then he's like, I didn't think that the conversation that she was having was like her wanting to break it off. I thought it was her wanting to fix things and be like, okay, you have everything I want, whatever. Let me get there and craving, whatever. Let's like do some fun things together, whatever.
I agree.
And it was like, they were not on the same page. And then he was like, all right, cool, let's end it. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I did not think I was going to end it. And I was like, good, end it, because you don't deserve her.
Yeah. No, it was hard to watch because, again, favorite couple for us to see. And we're like, so, like, when they got on the screen, we're like, yay, okay. And then we were getting nothing. And he's on his damn phone. She's literally putting up his stuff in the closet, trying to cook and do all that. Man's on his phone. I'm like,
yeah,
seriously?
I'm like, it's wild.
What? You have that awesome woman right there trying to talk with you, and you want to be on your phone. Like, I get it. Y'all didn't have your phones for a month, but you don't see her.
It's crazy.
Like, it was ridiculous.
So,
and then, yeah, I thought, and again, I agree with you. I thought that they were going to try to work something out, and she's just telling him, like, okay, I need more of this. Like, let us get that.
Yeah, I thought, like, let's get on the same page.
Yeah,
in the beginning, whenever she was saying, like, I really, really love affection, and he was like, yes, I tried to give you affection, and she was like, well, you did it, but I had to wake up at 4 a.m., and you did it at 1 a.m., or I had to wake up at 5 a.m., and you did it at 1 a.m. Like, that's wrong timing. Yeah, let's come, stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Do you see how it's wrong timing? Yes, I see how it's wrong timing. Yeah, okay, let's try it again, but thank you for trying there. Let's do it at a time when it's not in something like that's whatever. And I thought they were going to come to an understanding. He immediately dropped it, but it was like, and he was right, and the stuff that he was saying, being like, you see how I'm trying for this, you see da-da-da-da, I did this and this, and then you didn't da-da-da-da, yeah. To me it seemed like this. So they had good communication, then when he dropped it, I was just so, like,
weird. Oh. And I feel like there had to have been something else that happened behind the scenes that we don't know about, because it seemed like such a fall-off. Like, it seemed like to me, like, maybe he was talking with his friends and talking about, oh, how he's getting married, and maybe he talked to them.
People are saying that it's the white thing.
It is. That's what I feel like. Maybe
he's never dated a white person.
Yep.
And
I think he talked to his friends and stuff like that we didn't see on camera, and they're like, no, bro. And then he started pulling away because of that, and then maybe that was what it was. Because it was just way too much of a drop off. But yeah, anyways.
So, as we move on. Yeah, then we have Johnny and Johnny and Johnny. We have Johnny and Amy, kind of boring, and basically just talking about how they haven't slept together yet because she's not on birth control. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I guess, like, this show thought it was important to show. In a way, to me, it seemed like more like an intimate conversation that I don't really need to know about. Yeah. About your guys' plans for birth control. Like, I don't think that needs to be a thing for me. Like, I don't need to know what someone else's plans for birth control.
Because they had to show some sort of turmoil from.
And, like, she was like, we're not going to get married unless they have sex. And then he was like, I'm not having sex unless you go on birth control. And she's nervous about doing that. So I guess it kind of showed, like, oh, will they, won't they? But, like, I don't need to know. Like, honestly, fight over a pan. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, fight over, like, him not cleaning the house, then, like, something else. Like, one time he didn't clean the house, and they just make it a narrative that he never cleans the house instead of showing me that. I'm not joking. Like, I don't need to know any of that. Funny. Jeramey and Laura.
Woo, that is some hot.
Are you gonna take this one?
Hot
Are you gonna take
this one? Oh goodness. Oh gosh, this one was like, and you know what? It's funny. I'm happy they put it at the end because, like, girl, I'm like, I cannot wait till Wednesday for them to show me that next episode.
No, it's coming Thursday, the 29th.
Thursday. All right, y'all. So basically, from what we're getting up to this point, leading up to this point, is it looks like Jeramey and Laura seem to have one of the better relationships out of everybody that's happening. Like, other than the fact of what's happened with their banter and, like, how she says he's annoying, blah blah blah. It seems like they're on a good page because Laura's family met him. They seem to like him. His whole Hawaiian shirt thing that she says she doesn't like, the family loves, and they like how they're together. Her parents are like, you know what? We actually like you together. It seems like it works. Then, all of a sudden, we see them, and Jeremy's just sitting there on his phone, and Laura's like, so are we not going to talk, or are you not going to say anything? And I'm already watching, and I'm like, oh, what's going on here? And then she's like, okay, so where were you last night? And he's like, oh, I was out with the guys, basically, something along those lines. And she's like, until 5 a.m. in the morning. So she's basically, at this point, trying to give him, like, what were you actually doing at 5 in the morning, because she knows something already went down. You already saw the look in Laura's eyes, like she was ready for this. And he's like, yeah, I've been up with the guys, and, like, Sarah Ann was there. And, like, you know, and stuff like that. And she's like, oh, so Sarah Ann was there. Why the hell do you need to go and see her? But mind you, the context before this, y'all, Sarah Ann had actually DM'd Jeramey saying that, oh, if things don't work out with you and Laura, like, come and get me. No, I'm just kidding. Basically saying, come and get me.
My door is open.
My door is open, and come and get me.
If you feel like you made a mistake, I went on the show to find the love of my life, and I'm here.
I think it's you. And he looked at the comment and he hearted it. And he basically, his excuse is like, oh, I hearted it to say I liked it. But I'm like, hey, you could have put the thumbs up. You could have.
No, you can't.
You can't put a thumbs up.
Like, you can, but he just, like, double pressed it. It doesn't matter.
But I'm like...
I mean, I think you just should have blocked her.
Well, yeah, you should have blocked her.
I don't care what you... I'm like,
but even if you did a thumbs up, would have been like, okay,
no,
cool,
there's no thumbs up, there's no hearting, there's no nothing. You're literally showing me, and then you're blocking the hoe. Like, there's no need to show that you even... Like, you can say... It's going to say red regardless, you can't control that, but you need to just block her, and that's that. Not follow her after. Yeah. So, whatever, he ends up following her. Anyways, so, basically, he ends up going to... He tells Laura that he went into the alleyway to talk to her, and they were talking for a couple hours because he was out until 5 a.m. in the morning. And she's like, the bar was closed at 1. So, and he's like, yeah, we were talking in the alleyway. And then she's like, oh, really? Because when you sent me your location, because he sent the location basically to have a story for her to not get so mad. I saw the location because I obviously was sleeping, it was in so-and-so, and that is where that hoe lives. And he's like,
yeah.
Okay. And then, yeah, so she's like, so you're at Sarah Ann's house, and, you know, basically no answer is an answer, and it's yes. And that is basically how that episode ends. Now, I told her he was shady as hell. I told y'all he was going to be one of the worst to come on. Sorry, I'm laughing. But like, I told you, he was gonna be one of the worst to come on the show, and I was so right. It almost scared me how right I was. It freaked me out. I look like Madame Cleo right now, but like, I literally had to talk.
No, and from their relationship that you've seen in the pods, they did talk more sexual stuff.
Yeah, and he did say like, oh, it's with her, it was like there was so much sexual tension, but like I want something serious, so like I didn't choose that. But now you're choosing that. And I mean, in a way, it's not even like I'm mad at him for, you know, making a mistake and like, okay, he really wanted Sarah Ann, or it's not working out with Laura, because if you could see it not working out with Laura, you could see it being like, okay, I understand if he doesn't choose Laura, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh my god, everything's going so well, and then he went and did this. It was like, okay, you're seeing kind of like, at least to me, I can understand why he would be put off on Laura. So it wasn't even that. It was just like, again, guys, grow up and express your feelings. Like, Jeramey, Johnny did, but Jeramey, like, hello, like, just come out with it. Goddamn, like, just say it. Just be like, I don't think it's working out. I made a mistake, and leave. Yeah, like, that's it. All right, so turns out, even though I don't really know why this one's a big deal, Jeramey was, as he was doing the process to get onto the show, he was actually engaged to somebody. That was actually ridiculous. Yeah, he was engaged. Like, wow. And it was like, okay, well, he was broken up when he was on the show. And it's like, yes, you're absolutely right. But because the process, I guess, is like really, really long. They do background checks. They do like familial checks. They do like a bunch of checks, whatever, obviously to make sure these people are sane. And so he was married going through engaged going through all of that. Then there was some that dropped with Trevor. And Trevor basically... Oh, you don't know this. So Trevor basically had a girlfriend the entire time when he was on the show. Oh, she knew he was going to be on the show and everything like that. And he basically, there's like text messages saying, oh, babe, I'm just going to say this right now so I can stay on the show, or blah, blah, blah. Oh, gosh. And then now, like, him and the girl are broken up, but he's saying, like, I guess he had said to her previously, like, if you show anyone of these messages or whatever, I'm going to, like, spread our private videos.
Oh my gosh.
So that's Trevor. Wow. And what's funny is like, it's like, oh, no one knows what's really true, right? But the thing is like, I didn't like Trevor. Like, everyone loved Trevor. Everyone was like, Team Trevor, like, he has a golden retriever personality and he doesn't deserve that. He can do better than Chelsea, blah, blah, blah. And I just didn't like him. I was like, I don't really care about Trevor. Like, yes, I thought Chelsea should have chosen him, but that was as far as I went. I didn't actually like any. Yeah, like, I don't actually like anyone this season. I don't actually care about anyone this season. Like, no one, you know, drew me in. So
that's my only thing about this. So these people that have girlfriends before they come on the show, you're literally just trying to come on the show to see if you get on TV.
Yeah, it's
not that you're actually trying to find.
Yeah, it's for clout.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, in that case, everyone's like, well, obviously it was for clout, but no. So it's like, yeah, good on Chelsea for not choosing him because, you know, he wasn't honest, but it's crazy because it's literally like people are like, I thought these shows did background check.
That's what I'm saying. If you're doing these checks,
I swear they did. Like, because you can lie until you're broken up and just be like, oh, babe, don't post me for a bit. Like, they don't track your every move.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's really
it is. And so, like, now I think it's going to be, which I think sucks. It's like, oh, okay, let's have, like, a new age requirement. Like, all these 27-year-olds, whatever, like, they're not ready. Like, screw them. They shouldn't be allowed to sign up. And I'm like, I don't think that's fair. I think that, like, in Matt's case with Colleen, Matt was already married, and yes, there's some that happened, and I told you he needs therapy, but I think, like, in that case, it was, like, he was married, and he's like, oh, I like being married, I want to be married again, and I don't want to keep...
wanted to find
you know what I mean?
And he got cheated on, so...
Yeah, but, like, I'm saying, like, the fact that, like, he's like, no, I'm ready for marriage, I want that again, that, to me, proves that, like, you can be young and be like, I'm just a family man, I'm a monogamous person, like, that's fine, but in the case of, like, if they haven't ever or whatever... No. And, like, when you're talking to them and they're like, yeah, I dated around or whatever and it's just not working out, like, okay, well, do you like dating around? Okay, well, how often do you see with these people? Like, I think it needs to be just, better checks.
Just better checks.
And, like, the guys, I think they need to be vetted more because, like I said before, like, females mature faster and also females have the maternal clock. So, like, they're not, if they say they want kids, they're not really playing around, like, a guy can, right? A guy can play around forever. But a girl, if she wants kids, like, technically, really doesn't want to.
Yeah.
So
agreed. Yeah, they need to be better on this. I mean, I feel like they did, and the people could just lie. Because I mean,
of course, people can lie. Yeah. Like, I'm sure that they lied, and like, you know, it's just this is by far the messiest season overall. This is the messiest.
Really, it's worse than last season. Season 5 was terrible. We had 2 couples. No, that's Lydia, Milton, Stacia, Izzy.
Like,
we had 2 couples.
I don't count that season though.
Oh, you don't count it.
I think that season wasn't a mess. That season was just like, what is this? Like, that season was literally like a bunch of edits and then they just placed it out your door. Yeah. This is a season, but it's just messy as hell, and it literally is just like, what is going on, like, with the people that you chose? Like, what is going on with these people that I have to watch?
One couple that I think is gonna get married is Johnny and Amy. That's it. I don't think anybody else is getting married. If they actually get their 2 out of 5, they'd be right on par with their average, which if you get 2 out of 5 couples getting married, it's good. It's very good. Yeah. I just see it very hard right now to see them even getting to that 2 because it just looks bad. And if I was going to say, if they were to make that 2 out of 5, I think that the couple that would actually potentially make it, you're probably gonna laugh at me. I think it would honestly be AD and Clay.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that.
Yeah, that'd be the only one. But the others, it's Jeramey and Laura that looks ship sunk. Jimmy and Chelsea, once he sees Jessica, ship sunk.
But if AD and Clay, like, they're gonna divorce, they're not gonna stay together, so that's fine. But hopefully she's not stupid enough to make the decision. Yeah. Like, hopefully it's not one of those things like, I just want to be married. Like, I just like the ring on my finger. And then she goes on with it. Right. Even though I actually don't even know if he would actually say yes. Because I don't think he wants to be the villain in the sense, like, oh, I still don't know if I can be faithful to you. Because that's his big thing. So I'm just to save us both, whatever. I just want to experience more. And then he says no. Happening. So I don't even know if I see him say yes. So
yeah, I can. But like I said, I could see it happening.
Anyways, guys, that is it for season stupid. 6 stupid. Let us know your thoughts down below. I personally, do you have a favorite? Do you think Chelsea looks like Megan Fox? Do you think Jeramey belongs to Sarah Ann? Do you think that Jeramey, Johnny, Jimmy could all be interchangeable? Let me know what you guys think.
And if y'all haven't already done so, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys for tuning in again. We will be back again soon. Until then, key out.
Treasure up.